of Mississippi Power, Anthony Wilson. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm great, Paul. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. It was a long night last night, I'm sure, for you and everybody else out there. And it ain't over yet. But what's the analysis or the checkup this morning across the state?
Yeah, it was. You're right. You're right. It was a rough night last night. It was actually rougher last night than it was yesterday during the day when it first came on shore in Louisiana. A lot of wind, a lot of heavy rain last night here along the coast and certainly in Louisiana. I think all total we have in Mississippi have fared well. We have probably 10,000 or so customers out right now, which is, not bad considering we took a Category 4 storm right on our neighbor's doorstep. So I think that the state right now, the state of Mississippi, has about 120,000 out, which again I think is not a bad number considering we've got the storm is still very active. We're getting gusts down here, and it's moving up the west side of the state, and it's going to cut across. We're beginning to get a pretty significant amount of weather in Hattiesburg, and I know you guys are beginning to get it in Jackson as well. So, I think we'll be in for a bit of a rough day today, but it'll get on out of here hopefully by tonight.
So you're saying about 10,000 as far as Mississippi Power Company customers?
That's right. That's right. We've and just about all of it, as you would imagine, falls on these coastal counties, Harrison and Jackson County, Pearl River County, Hancock County. They're the ones that's really had the outages. We had a good plan, and I think it worked well for this storm. We worked all day long yesterday, and got kept up really with the outages during daylight hours yesterday. Then the customers really after dark, it got to a point to where we just couldn't get out and reconnect customers. It got too dangerous. It's just not efficient and certainly not safe. So we responded to emergency calls only through the night, and then we're back out this morning. We got an additional 1,000 folks from outside the state to come help us. So I feel good about being able to get the power back on in a reasonable time.
Anthony, one of the things we don't think about, but even after Camille and all in between till we got to Katrina and now, and it's a heck of a way to do it, but we always get stronger after that. We build stronger. We know where not to build. Companies like your fine company, we get stronger. We know how to address those because of the last, catastrophe. And I'm sure there were some things that were put in place because of Katrina, a lot of things that makes the damage limited.
Yeah. Well, I think that's exactly right. I think the infrastructure is better, the technology is better, and frankly, the planning that we go through is much more involved, much more detailed than it used to be because we learned from the prior events. So there's no doubt that it's getting better. It's getting more robust. The really sad part of this story on this storm is what's happened in Louisiana. It's a catastrophic hit there. Our thoughts and prayers need to go out to our neighbors in Louisiana.
Yeah, I gotta ask you though. But when you have something like this, as far as that type of infrastructure, we're talking about one of these major big power lines that I'm not sure how tall or how extensive these things are, but these is one of the big ones that actually carried the line across the river. And what was it? 8 lines on that thing?
Yeah. I don't know. I've not seen any of the schematics on New Orleans, but what I've heard is that just about all of the transmission that goes in to service the metro part of New Orleans, those lines all went down. And I've heard a number, like you said, I've heard a number of 8, including one of the big ones that crosses the river as you can imagine, those are one of a kind of structures, and it's going to be very difficult for them to replace that structure. They'll get it done. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, but it's not going to be a quick fix. Number one. So how long do you think they're going to be with it? How do you what fills in place of that?
Yeah,
until they get it fixed.
I wouldn't even speculate on that. They're going to have to. They'll come up with something creative, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then come back and replace it with a permanent structure later. But one thing about a storm like this that is so large, so catastrophic, is it'll bring all of the utility forces from across the country will diverge into that one spot and help them get the lights back on. For sure, as soon as we get our power back on here, we'll head that way, and all the other companies will do the same to the extent that they can handle that many resources. They'll send them to them.
We're getting word now that there are 130,000 without power in Mississippi, and I guess that's inclusive of your 10,000 there, and many of the others, of course, would probably be EPA and, of course, for Entergy. So, and that's probably going to increase as the system moves north with these sustained winds. Haven't heard of any winds that are, tornadic so far, and most of the winds have been around the 30 to 45 mile an hour speed. But that's enough if you've got some weak limbs out there or some trees that fall over. So, you have any idea how long you think it's going to take? I know that's a ballpark question, but with your 10,000?
I think us and the remainder of Mississippi, we'll be back on in just a few days, I feel like.
Yeah.
The circumstance, like we talked about in Louisiana, is a much different story. For sure.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But again, we always mention this, and it's just a reminder, just a refresher. If you see a power line down, be very, very cautious because you don't know if it's been deactivated yet. So do be careful.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
That is absolutely right. I mean,
I know sometimes we want to help, and we want to make sure that we warn people, and there have been a lot of people who've died because they get out of their vehicle and they go stand there and they get too close. They don't have any idea, and they become the victim themselves. So do be careful. Just get away from it. Best thing.
Absolutely. Thank you for reminding all of our friends and listeners out there for that.
You got it. Look, I thank you for taking some time, sir. Appreciate it very, very much.
Absolutely.
You got it.